All right, the wet season is here again. And if you work on a large site, you know this means a whole lot more than just grabbing an umbrella. It's a time of year with heightened risk, where a simple downpour can kick off some really serious dangers. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the biggest hazards and the critical steps you need to take to keep yourself and your crew safe. Yeah, because this isn't just about getting wet. The thing about the wet season is that it creates a whole chain reaction of hazards. The rain you see can lead to dangers you don't see, from lightning strikes up in the sky to the very ground under your feet becoming unstable. Getting that connection is absolutely the first step to staying safe. So, we really need to look at this as an annual challenge. It's a predictable time of higher risk, and you know what? That predictability is our biggest advantage. It means we can get ready, we can train for it, and we can have a solid plan in place before that first storm cloud even shows up. We're going to focus on 4 key areas. We'll kick things off with the threats coming from the sky, so lightning and strong winds. Then we'll shift our focus down to what's happening on the ground, dealing with heavy rain and flooding, and the huge danger of rock falls and landslides. Okay, first up, the threat from the sky. When a thunderstorm starts rolling in, how you respond has to be immediate and it has to be right. So here's the protocol. It really boils down to this simple 3-step action plan. The second you hear thunder or see lightning, your number one priority, your only priority, is to get inside a proper shelter, like a building or your vehicle. If you absolutely can't, then you need to avoid making yourself a target. That means get away from high ground and stay away from isolated trees. And finally, patience is everything. You stay put until that storm is well and truly over. All right, so we've covered the sky, now let's look down at the ground. Heavy rain does a lot more than just make puddles. It can actually destabilize the earth itself, and that can lead to extremely dangerous rock falls and landslides. So how does this actually happen? Well, it's a pretty simple but dangerous sequence of events. First, the rainwater works its way into all the little cracks in the ground. As it keeps raining, the ground gets totally soaked, kind of like a giant sponge. This builds up immense water pressure from the inside, and eventually that pressure gets to be too much and the whole slope can just fail. And this, right here, is exactly why we have some non-negotiable rules for anyone working near pit walls or slopes. First, you must have the right geotechnical hazard awareness training. Second, it's your job to inspect your work area for any changes. And if you see anything suspicious, new cracks, a little bit of falling debris, anything, you get out of there and you report it immediately. The bottom line is, never ever work under a hazard that hasn't been properly assessed and controlled. Period. Okay, now let's talk about actually moving around during the downpour itself. Heavy rain creates instant challenges for everybody on site, whether you're on foot or you're behind the wheel of a truck. I mean, just look at this comparison. It is night and day. Every single thing about driving has to change. You've got to go slower. You need to start braking way earlier and more gently. If you've got 4-wheel drive, you should be using it for that extra grip. And most importantly, you have to increase your following distance. And I really want to pause on this for a second. We're not talking about just leaving a little more room. The rule is to double your separation distance. Why? Well, think of it this way. That extra space is your safety buffer. It's your reaction time. It literally gives you twice the time and twice the distance to stop if the vehicle in front of you has a problem. This one little change can prevent a very big incident. Now, let's talk about something as simple as getting in and out of those vehicles, or any piece of equipment. With all those wet, slippery surfaces, there is one number that you need to burn into your brain. 3. 3-point contact. This is a basic safety rule that becomes absolutely vital when it's wet. All it means is that at all times, 3 of your 4 limbs, so 2 feet and a hand, or 2 hands and a foot, are firmly in contact with the equipment. It keeps you stable and dramatically cuts down the risk of a slip turning into a serious fall. So far, we've talked a lot about reacting to dangers as they pop up. But the best safety strategy, well, that's the one you put in place before the first drop of rain even falls. It's all about shifting your mindset from being reactive to being proactive. So here it is. This is your action plan. Before the season really kicks in, get out there and walk your site. Secure anything that could blow away. Clear out drains so the water has somewhere to go. Then check your gear. Top off the fuel, check your critical supplies, test your emergency equipment, make sure your radios work. And finally, just talk about it. Get your team together for a toolbox talk and go over these exact hazards and what the plan is. And you know, it all comes down to this. You can't stop a storm from coming, but you can be ready for it. All that work you do beforehand, all the checks, the planning, the conversations with your team, that is your best, strongest defense. So, as we wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with this question. Think about your own crew, your own work area. What is the very first thing you're going to check or do to prepare? Because safety isn't just a protocol in a book, it's a personal commitment, and everyone on your team is counting on you to make it. Stay safe out there.